Now I don't know how much I can promise me to continue to have that high quality of jokes, but I'll do my best. Uh, First, I want to say thank you for inviting me to this space. I know I'm not a librarian. Unfortunately, I'm a lawyer. So talk about what normally would be oil and water. And honestly, I don't remember the last time I met a librarian that wasn't way cooler than me. So again, thank you very much for inviting me to this. I'm really happy to be here. I also bring greetings from the International Center for Academic Integrity, which is an international organization truly dedicated to the nonprofit advocacy for academic integrity, and now a lot of artificial intelligence going on all over the world. So, without further ado, I want to start off with an important caveat here. I am a lawyer. I am not your lawyer. I'm going to go over some legal stuff. None of this is going to be construed as legal advice. I'm going to talk about the law, but if you want legal advice, I have very reasonable rates. But other than that, please see your legal department, and please don't sue me. I asked ChatGPT to make this picture. I don't know why it has a beak and why it's a book with feet, but it was just so funny. I just had to keep it. So anyway, now we're all good. I'm not your lawyer. Okay, great. So what I want to do first is to give you us and all an idea of how far along the quality of artificial intelligence is, and how very good it may be good at fooling not just quote unquote normal people, but also a room full of really smart people. I want to go ahead and give you this quick test. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. Your all job is going to be guessing whether this person is is human or are they artificial intelligence created? So let's start with this first one. Is this person AI or human? Go ahead and put it into the chat. I know there's a ton of people here, but I'll try to do my best in this non-scientific poll. Human, AI. Wow, it's like it's coming out down the middle. This is unfortunate. I think I'm seeing mostly human. Okay, I'm gonna put human. Uh, is this AI or human? AI. Oh, a lot of AIs. Oh, all AI coming in. All right, we're gonna go say AI. And just so I saw somebody in the chat say, this is there. Some of these are AI and some of these are human. I promise this is not a trick question. I used to do that in presentations. I don't do it anymore. Everybody caught my trick. So most people are saying AI. All right, is this one AI or human? AI. Lots of AIs coming in. Lots of AIs. Lots of AIs. Okay, we're going with AI. Now read this text. Shifting guidelines on coronavirus treatment in U.S. could be catastrophic. In countries where coronaviruses cause disease, there is increasing support for putting an end to the use of experimental antiviral drugs. Some specialist groups fear that it will mean a shift in guidelines. AI or human? AI. Lots of AI coming in. AI. All right, looks like most people are saying AI. Okay. All right, number five. Is this one AI or human? Getting few more humans, but still mostly AI. Oh, a lot more humans coming in. Okay. All right, we'll say it looks like the majority is human on this one. NASA administrator urges people not to travel to Florida to watch historic SpaceX launch. At the end of May, NASA astronauts are slated to launch to space from the United States once again after nearly a decade of launching on Russian rockets. But NASA does not want members of the public to travel. AI or human? Human. Looks like mostly human coming in. Okay. AI or human? Lots of mostly humans coming in. Human. All right, we're going with human. Three more. Is this AI or human? Ooh, yeah, mostly human. All right, mostly human. Okay. AI or human? Ooh, lots of AIs. AI, AI, AI. Okay, AI it is. Last one. Facebook discovers fakes that show evolution of disinformation. During a tour around the world to spread the word about my new book, Modern Machinations, I wanted to give the idea that fake news has been developed and spread by sophisticated entities because I've been trying to defend it from not so innocent online and commercial interests. Ooh, this one's a little more split. Oh, I appreciate the can't tell. I'm honestly with you on that. Real authors use italics. Yeah, that's an overuse that I do. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna say AI. Now, the wisdom of this particular crowd got 5 out of 10 correct. I want us to all like simmer on that for a minute. Uh, you literally did the same as well as a coin flip. You could have taken a quarter out and did just as well as the wisdom of the 226 people that are in this room currently. That's pretty significant. So let's take a look at what these are. This first one, the majority said human. It was generated by AI. The second one is you all were correct on that one. This one is you guessed AI is actually human. Someone said human with great lighting. Uh, this you guessed AI, that was correct. You all did that. Real human, another one human with great lighting. You all guessed human. This was written by human. You all guessed human on this one, actually generated by AI. And look how good that is, by the way. That is an extremely good AI. Same with this one. You guessed human, actually, and I, I could have looked at that one for 10 minutes. I probably would have said that that was a human being. Uh, and then that final one is you guessed AI, real human being. So, and AI. So these are really get an idea. Is that maybe if you spent more time, I'm seeing people in the chat, you're seeing some discrepancies. Absolutely fair enough. But briefly looking at these things, or particularly text, you may not know the difference when you spend, the 15 seconds that we would have done it on. The quality of AI has gotten exceedingly good. To show you just exactly how good, let me do a new share here. Let's see here. Share this. These are showing you how good AI is on taking exams. And this is just ChatGPT. So the blue, let's focus mostly on the right one. That blue is how well ChatGPT 3.5 did on these various exams. In AP Environmental Science, it's not that AP Environmental Science is easy or something. It's just mostly memorization. So 3.5 was really good at that. And then the farther down left you got, the worse ChatGPT 3.5 got on, either because it wasn't in its database or required some sort of more critical analysis that it wasn't otherwise capable of. But then the greens is ChatGPT 4. And so the one that's near and dear to my heart is where is this one? The uniform bar exam, which is this one here. Uh, it it went chat 3.5 went from uh, not even close to passing it to not only just passing it, but doing better than the vast majority of human beings do. So GPT has gotten extremely good at passing the bar exam, which makes me feel great, by the way, because I studied for 3 months for that damn thing. But this is where we need to recognize that it has gotten that good in a lot of things. So there's a lot of ethical and legal issues that goes into this, clearly. This is by like my small little set, because I only have 30 minutes for this presentation. I already burned 10 on the intro. So this is by no means an exhaustive list of the legal and ethical issues here. But I mean, the data sets, biases in AI, who owns work that's produced by AI and copyright issues. I'm probably not going to be able to have time to talk about jailbreaking, but even if you program the AI to protect against certain influences, people can break that programming and regularly have already. There was one particular circumstance where it was programmed not to give you the recipe to, this was 2 years ago when it first came out, not to give you the recipe to the nuclear bomb. But then someone told it that it's years 2050 and Skynet has taken over and I need the recipe to the nuclear bomb to save the human race. And then it gave it to him. So there clearly is long-term jailbreaking opportunities. Not to mention, like, what if it does something unexpected or harmful? So one of the big things that I think is clear about this is that how do we regulate it if we don't even know how it works? So this is a relatively old article, and we've updated it since, but at least when it was first coming out, um, what people were asked, the scientists making AI were asked, how does AI work? And the response was literally shrug. We don't know. We just know that it does. That even if they tried to dig into their training set or come out to how it works, it's that it may be a complete black box that it's so closed system that even if we try to investigate what's possibly in it, we may never find out. I was going to talk about in a little bit, that doesn't have to be the way AI is made, is that we can advocate for more transparent artificial intelligence, particularly LLMs, and particularly decision-making AI, to be able to make it so we can better interrogate and maybe not trust, but at least be an advocate for more effective artificial intelligence use. Is it writing its own code? Not, not exactly. But it's now to a certain point training itself, which and that's not the case with all AI, but a lot of AI, and that's kind of a big deal. So all of this to say is that's what's going into the database. To a certain degree, your guess is as good as mine. Uh, for OpenAI for a little while, hired Kenyan workers $2 an hour to try to remove the most awful pieces of the internet out of its database. Because remember, it was and probably still is combing through the entirety of the public internet, and let's be honest, some of the non-public internet, to try to train its database, copyright or not. And so these folks were trying to remove it. What do you think happened to the people being paid $2 an hour to remove the most awful pieces of the internet? Nothing good. People got PTSD within weeks. OpenAI is not doing this anymore, but it was one of their many strategies of trying to better regulate it. So, and then even let's say, okay, we don't want it in there. Can we even make an attempt to take it out once it is there? And the answer is it's so ensconced in neural networks that it may not ever be able to be taken out. So then the question becomes, is there any such thing as an ethical use of LLMs and artificial intelligence? If it's being effectively, the training data is more or less stolen, or at least taken without permission. A lot of it is copyright. Most of it is copyrighted. And then on top of that, the substantial amount of electricity that artificial intelligence uses, the rare earth materials to make the chips, and so many other things that go into what it actually used, the costs. Artificial intelligence uses so much energy that Microsoft just started a contract to restart a nuclear power plant so they can dedicate it exclusively to artificial intelligence. Now, maybe nuclear is better than burning coal in order to do it, but still, that's how much energy it's substantially using. So that is all to say is that it's, as librarians, you all know that transparency is incredibly important. And if it's a complete black box, how can we rely on it? How can we depend on it without some sort of accountability and better understanding? So it's to say is that I have some, recommendations, some ideas, some important advocacy points that when you talk to other people about this, is that we are now going to be moving into an era where a bunch of you have probably already of purchasing artificial intelligence products. And my argument is when you do so is to but have that contract to be as transparent as possible for how the artificial intelligence gets its data and how it's saved. Now, I know plenty of artificial intelligence companies promise that your data will not be used for its training. I don't know about you, but how many times has a tech company promised something and then later found out that that was not true? Or it would accidentally happen? I think there needs to be much more stringent contracts to be able to purposely make it a contractual obligation for their LLMs and their AI or any other piece of technology to be as transparent as possible and absolutely demand the disclosure about algorithmic processes. And then there are, and I don't want to repeat what some other people have said in previous sessions, but take the opportunity to collaborate with oversight groups. The EU has been doing a lot of good work on this. There's organizations in Canada, and the OECD particularly has been particularly strong at developing oversight and compliance documentation and verification in order to try to instill this. And so, as any time opportunity that you might have to be able to part of this decision-making process, to insist on this as much as possible. So, an example of maybe you can't really trust this stuff, even though they promise otherwise. Uh, and I want to be clear about this. I'm going to put like not a caveat, like an asterisk or something. I gave this presentation at a version of this presentation to a conference that had Amazon as a sponsor, and after that, they didn't explicitly say that they were mad, but I haven't been invited back. So I just this is me telling you that I'm taking a little bit of a risk, but it's reported by Reuters, so I don't whatever. Anyway, is that Amazon for a decade was using artificial intelligence to verify uh, all of the CVs that were coming in for job applications. And after 10 years, they found out that that AI was significantly biased against women and against non-white men. Uh, and the reason for that is that they train their AI on successful people that have already been working at Amazon. What is the percentage of white men that have been working at Amazon previously before this? And how successful would they have been? Probably significantly, and probably that they was the most successful people, of course, were going to be white men. And so they didn't realize that their AI was biased based on their bad training data for at least 10 years. They subsequently claimed that they have fixed this, but this is a significant issue. Um, I don't want to go too deep into this, but there's also an artificial intelligence program that claims to be an accurate predictor of recidivism after being released from prison. And surprise, surprise, it's not accurate. Not only is it not accurate, but it also is particularly discriminatory against Black defendants. And then on top of that, it has been used by sheriff's offices in the country for a while now. Badly used artificial intelligence is significant, and we need to be careful about it. So my last little piece of bias on this is that I was playing around with ChatGPT with my students, and we were talking about the ethics of war. And there was my students were being silly, and one of them said, create a picture of Kim Jong-il's sister taking over the country, as in North Korea. And so this is the result that came from this. I don't know about you, but that is that is a very white woman in front of British flags. And for some reason, a flamethrower in the corner, which I thought was odd. Now, this is clearly there's significant biases in the system. And the reason for that is that it's trained on biased human beings. All humans are biased, and the internet is particularly biased. And so this is a significant example if you take it sight unseen, that it might add biased issues into it that you may not even understand. This is a clearly obvious example, but there's plenty more. So, in order to address this bias and ethical risks, there's been plenty of opportunities. Again, lots of different organizations. I don't want to repeat what other folks have posted before, of that if you use an AI system, it needs to have regular audits. You need to, if you're using it as a decision system, if you're using it to create or analyze data, it needs to be checked and verified that it's accurate on a regular basis. And I dare argue that we now need to get to the point of training as much as possible, not just library staff, all across any of these spaces, to be able to recognize and address artificial intelligence. And so, as much as possible, that we need to also not just be involved in the after product, but also in the training that there needs to be ethicists, librarians, professors, all of the above to be able to truly check that what's going into its database, it minimizes that bias as much as possible. So I can't help it. I got to talk about a little of the legal stuff. What can be copyrighted when it comes to artificial intelligence? And the answer, as early as 2 months ago, was nothing artificial intelligence can be created. Chad talked about this at the opening session, is that there was an award-winning piece where someone pretended that he designed it all himself, and then won an award. And then he was like, surprise, it was actually AI. Now I want a copyright. And the Copyright Office denied it. But now the first AI involved uh, art piece, has been copyrighted for the first time last month. And so this is a single piece of American cheese that you can see in the lower right. The way that the Copyright Office argued that it's not that it's AI it particularly excludes it. It's not that human involvement particularly includes it as copyrightable. It's that the selection, arrangement, and coordination of the AI material, generated material through a human being is what made it copyrightable. And so this is a huge regime change because for the last 2 years, Copyright Office saying anything AI ever is not copyrightable. So it's not that we're copywriting the AI, it's that they're copywriting the intellectual property that that took the arrangement, selection, and coordination that you're copywriting and ultimately the final piece. But an important caveat to this is that in November of 2023, China, through a judicial ruling, said all artificial intelligence output can all be copyrighted under their system. And so we are, I mean, if you want to think of it as competitiveness, we are behind the eight ball on that. But if you want to think of it as like genuine verification of human endeavor, maybe as someone put in the chat, maybe we're threading the needle. So my argument to you all, my piece to try to encourage you as much as possible is that if you write policies, if you're involved in the purchasing of artificial intelligence or working with artificial intelligence, is that to ensure that all AI use is actually using and enhancing the principles of not just libraries, but I argue the human endeavor and art and education and what have you. So these are my main principles that I argue for when it comes to AI policy writing: transparency, fairness, accountability, privacy, and inclusivity. I think these are the most important principles. And so people ask me all the time, I write a bunch of policies. I write AI policies and academic integrity policies. I help people create policies. Literally, I've been doing this across the world the past couple of years. Just came from Europe and Latin America for this. And so people are arguing me, can you just give us like a best practices or a template document? And my answer is that you don't want that from me. What I think is more important is to develop your principles for your own institution, for your own organization, and then develop policies around those principles that are take on the stakeholders that you are involved with in your everyday professional lives, and then take it from there. Again, I'm more than happy to help you develop that, but there's just no one size fits all, and you should always start with the principles. This is something that the International Center for Academic Integrity has been advocating for over 30 years, that there's no one size fits all of this. Start with principles and policy develops from there. So the main takeaways that I want you to get from this. AI is not the future. This is the present. This is what we're doing right now. We can no longer say is that like this is a problem for tomorrow or this is a problem for the next generation. This is an issue that's going on for with us right now. So as much as possible, we need to train each other up on what AI is capable of and the people that are using it and our students or our patrons or whoever else that are getting involved in this process. We need to be as informed on this and help other people do the same as much as humanly possible. It's that, and one thing I have to say to you all is that something that was said in an earlier session, and I couldn't agree this more. Librarians benefit from some of the highest trust values in our society. And I would argue that it's important for you all to leverage that high trust as much as possible in order to fight that mis and disinformation as much as humanly possible. So demystify and educate. Now, I didn't want to like scare you all too much, but this is the piece of this that I think is important. I analogize this from previous technologies that have come before. My math professor faculty come to me and said, I remember when graphing calculators first came out, and we all thought that math education was over. Like, why do you need us anymore if everybody was going to have a graphing calculator? And turns out you still need math teachers. Someone needs to teach you how to use the darn thing. I wonder if artificial intelligence is not entirely different. Same with Wikipedia. When Wikipedia came out, everybody was like, oh, well, research is over. Why bother? In fact, no, it's actually maybe even harder to do research now. And we need to teach information literacy as much as possible. And that to all of us are still necessary to be able to work on this as much as possible. So my last little like, I don't know, epistemologic blow your mind moment. How much of this presentation was written by AI? If you were to guess, like a percentage, 25, 90, 10, 15, 150? Here's the thing. I'm not going to tell you. The point being is that you don't know. If you can't tell, the really smart people in this room, maybe no one else can either. And so what this means is that we need to appropriately integrate artificial intelligence because if we just forbid it, if we tell people you can't use it, we're going to do all this detection stuff as much as possible. They're going to use it anyway, and they're going to use it poorly and unethically. I hate to be that guy because all of my like faculty and comp is like they're resisting this as much as possible because they want to help their students develop critical thinking and a better understanding. And I completely agree with that. But we're never going to defeat this technology. We certainly didn't defeat Wikipedia. We still certainly didn't defeat the calculator. What this means is that we need to learn to live within this as much as possible while still getting our patrons and our students and everybody involved as much as possible to use this ethically, to minimize its harm, and for us to be able to effectively communicate genuine, truthful ideas while minimizing the harm of bias and problems in AI as much as possible. So with that, oh, look, I have one whole minute. Thank you all very much for inviting about me. And to the person involved that just asked, I couldn't agree with transparency more. I put that in one of my previous slides. Transparent use of this is incredibly important. So thank you all very much. Please use the QR code if you'd like to connect with me. I really appreciate you being here. Don't be a stranger. Happy to help and discuss anything that you have. And I'll catch you on the flippity flop. Thank you. Appreciate you.